that, hey, why are you in my house? So of course of course the two young men said that we purchased that, and then of course that man said that I did not sell it to you. So we was the title company of that transaction. So then we do the investigate to see what's going on, and then we find out there are two owner of that property, a man and a woman.
So, selamat datang di Networkers Real Estate this week. Di sini kita relax saja, konteksnya pagi-pagi. Sebelum kerja, kita mau orang santai sambil dengerin ini. So, hari ini kita kedatangan Bowic Tse. Dia ini udah pengalaman panjang banget di real estate, udah sekitar 20 tahun. And right now he's the International Department Manager di salah satu the biggest title companies di US. And dia udah dapat license sebagai real estate instructor juga di Washington. So, welcome, Boy.
Thank you, Hansen. Good morning, everyone. So my name is Bowic. I don't speak Indonesian. Oh, actually, I have to mention my mother was born in Indonesia, but I don't speak Indonesian. So good morning, everyone. So so happy to be here today to share some good news to you, especially about real estate transaction in America. So let's go to my slide. Normally, I do this big picture to provide a training to my real estate agent in America to buy a house here. But today, of course, I'm going to use a simplified version to share with you. Buying house in America actually is really attractive for many investors in the whole wide world, because America is one of considered more stable in economy, and also political and economy is kind of stable, and also the return is good. So that's why many investors, they love to invest in America. So let's go to the simple version of this chart. So basically, in America, normally you will need a real estate agent to help you to buy and sell a real estate. The main property. So we call real estate agent or real estate broker. After the real estate agent find a house for you, they will give the contract to us, title and escrow. So escrow, for escrow, you can consider it is a law company. In many other countries, they use the law company. Escrow at the same role as a law company to handle all the legal document. But for title, many countries, they don't have this kind of, structure, title insurance. So that's why today the main content of our today the sharing is about title insurance. So escrow, as I mentioned, just like a law company to handle the transaction. They were based on the instruction of the contract, and also the instruction of the purchase and sale agreement, and also the instruction from real estate agent and lender to close the transaction. So that's escrow. How about title? Title, basically, there are two important parts. The first part is title. We do a research. We should research all the related information about the property, all the related information about the seller, and then we do some tests, check those information, and then prepare a report, become a title report. So basically, we do the research and then prepare a report. That is the title. And then the important role of title is we need to ensure who is the owner. That means who has the authority to sell the property. So you don't want to have a stranger, totally stranger, come to sell the property to you, because nobody know that person is a owner, have the authority or not. So that's why the title report, the first important thing is guarantee who is the owner, who has the authority to sell the house to the buyer. And then if the buyer borrow money from the lender, we also need to ensure that the buyer have the authority to, guarantee the buyer can borrow money from the lender. And then the last part is really, really important. We need to ensure the title is free and clear, transfer that to the buyer. So because this is a special concept, many people in other countries, they may not understand. Let me go through more detail about this. So what is free and clear? So basically, when we read the title report, so don't worry, I'm not going to go through all of this. When we read the title report, we want to know, is there anything against the property, against the seller? For example, is there any judgment, any lien against the property, against the seller, any violation from the government on the, notice on the property? So the buyer don't want to buy the property, with this kind of problem. So that's why title and escrow working together to clear this kind of problem, ensure the buyer will get the title interest free and clear. So let's go to the real example. For example, this one, notice of lien. This one is from the city, because there's some violation and unsafe structure on this property. So that means the seller will need to fix the the house, and also get the inspector from the city to ensure the house is is safe and then they can sell the house to the buyer. So the buyer don't want to buy this house with some unsafe structure on the property. So that's why one of the lien we need to ensure to clean up. Another example here is notice of delinquency. So in this example is from HOA. So that means the seller did not make some of the payment from the homeowner to the homeowner association. So of course the buyer don't want to take over this kind of problem. So the seller will need to, when we handle this transaction, we will ensure the seller pay off this kind of things, ensure no delinquents before the buyer take over the property. So another example, judgment. So there's some judgment, from legal action from different parties against the seller or on the property. So of course the buyer don't want to take over this problem. So we will take care of this, ensure to remove this kind of problem before the buyer can get the title interest free and clear. One more thing here is about, this one have a special lien, a tax lien against the seller. So also need to remove that in order to transfer the property to the buyer. So basically we, title insurance is a report showing is there any problem on the, any problem against the property, any problem against the seller. And then we will ensure to clear that in order in order to transfer the property to the buyer. So what if something happened in the future, after closing? So I'm going to share with you one example, one story. So it's a long time ago, 15 years ago, two young men purchased a property in Kenalan for 400,000. And then after those two young men move in, and another man come to the house, knock the door, say that, hey, why are you in my house? So of course, the two young men said that we purchased that, and then of course that man said that I did not sell it to you. So we was the title company of that transaction. So then we do the investigate to see what's going on, and then we find out, there are two owners of that property, a man and a woman. So one seller, the woman, actually she is in Japan. So because for every transaction, the seller will need to sign the deed and also get the public notary on the signature in order to sell the house. So in this case, the woman, one of the seller in Japan, actually she signed the deed in the U.S. embassy. So for her part, is good. But after her signing, she add the signature for her husband without the public notary in the U.S. embassy office. So because of that, of course, we did not know she fixed the signature of her husband. So we closed the file. So apparently her husband did not sign the deed. So, in this example, if without title insurance, then the two young men, the new owner, and then the man and also the woman in Japan, they will go to, they will need to handle the whole problem by themselves. They will need to go to the court and then go through some complicated procedure to see how to solve this problem. But with the title insurance. So our company jump in to investigate, and then of course we pay for a lot of legal fees, investigation fees, or something. So we actually find out this problem, and then because they have a title insurance, the title insurance in Washington is the seller pay that to protect the buyer. So in this example, the buyer need the protection. So that's why we jump in. We go to the two new owner, the two young men, telling them what's happened, and then we tell them, oh, actually, before we go to the two young men, we go to the man, the one of the owner. The seller. Before we tell them what's happened, tell them his wife, fix the signature, and then we tell this man, how about this? We give you some money, then you sign the deed. Then the two new owner, those two young men will own the property without any problem. So, but this man, the seller, he refused to take the money. He want the house back. So in this case, we went to talk to the two young men, the new owner, say that, because of this problem, so we understand that you purchased the property 400,000 and you move in 2 months. How about this? We give you 450,000. You sign all the document, return the house to this man and the woman. So let we handle the best. Let we handle the rest. So of course, those two young men said, okay. For 2 months, they earn 50,000. So they're okay. So those two young men sign the document and get the money. So we return the house to the man and the woman. And now we have to make a decision because apparently we lost 450,000 in this title insurance transaction because the woman in Japan, fixed the signature. So, the next question for our company is, do we want to take legal action against this woman in Japan to get the money back? And then, kind of an interesting story because we know that to take legal action in another country is kind of, very expensive. And the money received by this woman, of course, she would not keep all this money in the bank waiting for us waiting us to take legal action. So end up in that transaction, we just forget. So we just give the money to the buyer, let the buyer to buy another house, and then we just forgive the seller. So it's a typical example. So without title insurance protection, the buyer need to take care of all those things by themselves. And also, you see, I did mention that without title insurance report, actually nobody know. They don't know who is the seller, who has the authority to sell the property. So that's why title insurance protection is one of the important, key factor in Washington selling real estate. So that's title and Escrow. So that's it. So
Okay.
Roland
Uh-huh.
and Hansen.
Yeah.
Any question?
I just want to add a little bit from Bowic explanation. If,
Yeah.
for example, Bowic, I know maybe it seems like a lot of information, but don't worry when the time comes, everyone is ready to make a purchase or get into the U.S. real estate market, get a real estate broker, the realtor that work closely together with title and escrow, and then from there, you can ask this question back again, and the realtor should be more than happy to help you with that. So I'll speak in bahasa a little bit. Jadi buat teman-teman yang nantinya misalnya tertarik nih buat mau beli rumah nih di Amerika, oh seperti ini ya. Tapi kok informasinya tadi banyak juga ya, tadi nggak inget, kok kayaknya susah. Sebenarnya itu nggak susah banget. Ini semua peraturan seperti ini ada, jadi itu supaya transaksi dan buat kedepannya lebih aman buat pemilik rumah dan juga pembeli. Jadinya nanti kalau teman-teman rencana mau beli atau mau jual rumah misalnya di sini, bisa coba hubungi saya juga bisa bantu jelaskan masing-masing, karena nggak setiap rumah itu ada semua yang tadi dibicarakan sama si Boik. Itu tuh tergantung case by case. Tentunya semua real estate agent juga nggak tahu, itu nanti yang tahu escrow dan title dulu. Nah, mereka tahu, nanti mereka bakal kontak kita, realtor, nanti realtor juga bakal kontak sama ownernya. Jadi seperti itu ya. Ya, that's all for me. Okay, so can we talk about the step by step of buying a house? So I noticed that there are a lot of information, as Roland said, and it often overwhelms people when they want to buy something, and then they see that even just one step of it, which is the title, seems to be overwhelming. They start to get discouraged by it. Can we start to talk about the step by step and how the title goes into the steps?
Yeah, Boyd, do you want to go or?
Yeah, I can share something, then you can add more information.
Yeah.
So because I was a managing broker before, so I provide a lot of training to real estate agent. So in this kind of transaction, I would say whoever, if you want to buy house, the first step, you need to find a real estate agent. So talk to the agent. For example, Roland is an agent. So talk to Roland, and then Roland actually will go through all those things with you. So at this moment, when you buy a house, I would say in the beginning, you don't need to worry about title escrow. So after the file is pending, that means you have a contract with the seller, and then we will jump in to handle the transaction. So in the beginning, you only need to do one thing: find a real estate agent, Roland, and talk to him, and then he will take care of everything and communicate with us and all the related party. So just one thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all you need to do is go to real estate agent, and then they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's great. So about the story in Japan, the two owners of the property, there's the one in US and there's the one in Japan. The one in the US is the two young men, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so there are the two young men and there's the one in Japan. So is title insurance the only way, or is there any other way we can secure this? Is there any options that people can figure out, or is it just title insurance?
Well, no. Normally, talking about real estate transaction, normally we use the title insurance protection.
Okay.
I don't know any other way because actually I don't think so, because as I mentioned, is that it's not only a title report but also title insurance protection. So that's why whoever the company provide this kind of report, and also need to be a big company. So our company is a public company. So that's why every year we reserve, I think, more than 1.2 billion US dollar waiting in case we need to, somebody want to claim the what I call the damage or something. So in the example I mentioned, we pay 450,000 US dollar. In that transaction, I think we earn probably 3 or 4,000. That's the premium we receive, but we spend a lot of big money to protect give the protection to the buyer. So that's why normal company, small company, they may not able to provide this kind of protection.
Oh, okay. And so another thing that I noticed for myself, when you present the materials, I find it pretty hard to differentiate between the title and the escrow, especially for those who have no background in real estate.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm assuming that the title is the paperwork and the escrow is the entity that helps with the paperwork, or is that the explanation of the terms? Does it need to be adjusted, or is it correct?
I think it's more or less correct, because for our company, we actually have a title department, do all those title research and also prepare a title report. And also we have a escrow department. The escrow department will read the real estate contract, with the title report, and read all the instruction from agent, from buyer, seller, and also the lender to prepare the closing document for that transaction. So there are two departments, but we are from the same company.
Okay. So can we go into the free and clear part of the title?
Yeah.
So you said that free and clear is not common in other places. It's only common in US, right? Or it's more.
Well, I should say, normally when you transfer a title from seller to buyer, normally you need to ensure the property is free and clear. So, but in I mean, I don't know. I mean, how's the process in Indonesia? But because I came from Hong Kong, so for Hong
Okay.
Kong, we don't have the title insurance system. So we went to the law firm. The lawyer actually handles those kind of things. So basically, the lawyer need to check something to see if there's any problem on the what they call on the seller side, and
Mhm.
but the lawyer actually do not provide that kind of protection. So that's why in case anything, of course, to go back to the lawyer will take some legal action to try to fix the problem. And then they charge $500 per hour. So that mean,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, of course, they
That's
welcome this
insane.
kind of,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, any problem, come back, I'll charge you more.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you need to pay for anything there, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
how about in Indonesia? Do they have this kind of title insurance protection, service?
So I think Indonesia, as far as I know, is pretty similar like in Hong Kong. The one who handle the title is the law firm, which is notary. We call it notary because like notary here because
Yeah.
they taking care of that title. But as far as of the escrow company that taking care of the paperwork and money transfer, that will be handled by either the seller and owner, a seller and buyer, or the agent. And in terms of the insurance, I don't think there's insurance provided. Am I correct? Maybe Hansen can double check on that as well.
Yeah, I can for sure double check. I don't have much experience in real estate in Indonesia, so I can't really verify on anything. But
Yeah.
I can for sure double check for the audience.
Mhm.
So about buying a house in Seattle, we can go about just going into an agent and then just letting him do the work. But the thing that often becomes a worry of people is the reason why people watch this kind of videos is they're trying to avoid those bad agents, those agents who try to take advantage of people, right? So what are the things that you think is important to not to note from an agent before they actually do something with the agent, before they actually make a deal with the agent?
So, do you mean what to know first, or how to choose an agent? Is that the questions or?
So let's start with the motive why people would want to watch these kind of
Okay.
videos. Yeah.
Okay.
So people usually want to be knowledgeable at something.
Sure.
So people don't mess with them in some ways.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't want people to take advantage of them by charging them
Definitely.
more, let's say. Yeah. By let's
Okay.
say trying to take something that not getting the maximum advantage out of the deal.
Got
People
it.
want to people want to have the optimum advantage from a deal, right? And there are some agents who apparently take advantage of people. So how to avoid to be taken advantage of?
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think from my perspective, number one, people likes to work with someone that they know, right? Someone that they familiar with and comfortable with. So in terms of this, I think like for example, Indonesian people like to work together with Indonesian agent because we have the same culture and everything, right? That's number one. Maybe they will get more. Oh, I can speak the language. I can understand you. You can connect this relation back to Indonesia. And the second one, that's number one, right? The comfortable. Number second one is I will say their experience, because everyone comes with a different needs. I would say because some clients, oh, I just want to buy a single family home for my kids. They go to school here, and then I want to get a house, and that's it. But some people, hey, I would like to get investment properties. Now that is a different kind of not kind of like a normal situation. So make sure the agents are familiar with that. Like they know what is the pros and cons. They know about the rules and regulations because each city has a different rules and regulations. Make sure they know about that. They have this experience before. It's not just, oh yeah, I know. I can help you. I can help you. But make sure you ask, okay, what's your plan? Have you handled something like this before? Who's your backup? Right? Because I think those are very important. You better work with someone that knowledgeable. If they not don't know, make sure they know someone that's knowledgeable enough to help them with that. For example, for me as a real estate agent, I have Bowic that they always help me. We have many transactions in the past in Bowic. I encountered a lot of situations with the title because I usually read the title for my client before we say my client, okay, I like this house, let's proceed with the offer, right? Because we need to write the offer. And then, okay, let me check all the about the house, the in and out, meaning the title. Is it clean title, or there are so many things that the owner has to take in care of? So I read the title, and sometimes if I see a red flag, I say, this is interesting. Let me call Boyd. So and then Boyd come back to me, hey Roland, yeah, good catch. That is right, Boyd. I think you remember one of the tricky situation back in the day. So that's what I mean. So make sure when you make sure the buyer, when they want to buy, make sure, okay, do you understand about this kind of situation? Now after you listening to this podcast, now you know about title and escrow. Are you familiar with title and escrow? Maybe you should ask the agent, do you read the title and escrow documents? Because I'll be honest with all the listener here, not many agents are doing that. Not anyone, because they just, okay, I just write the notes, I write the offer for you, I submit it to the agent, that's it. I don't have to read the inspection report, the title report. But make sure, that's number two. Make sure the agent are familiar with that, and if they don't, do they know someone that they work closely with? I think that's very important as well. And I think the third one that I want to point out about the the buyers or the sellers, just want to make sure they're not get cheated by
The agent.
they got they I think they charged me that's too much. So in here in the United States, a, seller agent and buyer's agent, they receive a commission from the seller. Now this commission actually are posted on the listing that they're looking. So for example, there's a client from Indonesia, right? And they just Google a house for sale. Once they click on that house for sale, and there's a commission underneath actually already written, commission 2% or 2.5% or 1.5%. So it's already transparent. So they can, this 1.5 goes to this agent. So so that's just FYI, because I know usually people coming from out of the country, they don't even bother read all the specification information, right? But I'll
They sometimes don't even understand it. That's the thing.
they take the photo. It's like, oh, this is a nice house. Okay, but they don't read the description. What is the especially if it's a lot of like in English, because we don't really read a lot of English back in Indonesia. So don't worry. In terms of this, I can always help any of your listener, free of charge. I don't charge anything until we go into mutual anyway. I like to make a
right, yeah.
So if they comes out like something like this, they Google it and then just get my information. You can text, email, WhatsApp, Telegram. I have everything. Just ask me any questions, and I'm more than happy to help with that.
Yeah, and talking to multiple agents can be helpful too, right? Getting connected to, let's say, 3 agents. What do you think about that?
So here now, going to next year, we have a new regulations in the US, January 1st. So now buyers or sellers agent, they have to have a written signed agreement. So say if I now become an agent of one of the person coming from Indonesia, we have to have that signed. So you agree to work with me with this kind of details. So of course, they can always go to any people, right? Say, oh, I go here and there, but make sure they. I think the agent should know about that too. If the agent will ask them to sign as well, and then that comes to the if, say they sign to me, and then they go to with the other agent. Now then that will trigger like, hey, actually this client is still my client of a real estate law, and that will create an issue later on because
Okay.
like Boyd mentioned earlier in the beginning of the podcast, why the United States is really one of the country that really enforce law. So this is not like in Indonesia. Oh, I don't worry about it. People back in Indonesia don't worry about the law. But here, make sure they be careful about the law. So that's something that I want to make sure people understand. So if they want to ask questions, that's okay. But they can go to any agents. But once they sign it, make sure you go with that agent when they want to purchase or want to sell. But of course, they can cancel that contract, sure. But just don't make sign 3 times without canceling the others, if you understand what I mean. Yeah, you don't have to sign like 3 times. Make sure when you sign, you don't like it, or then cancel it first and then go for the other one. Don't like sign, and then you have like 10 agents waiting for you.
That'll be an issue for sure.
Yeah.
So let's go back to Bowic.
Yeah,
So I actually want to go back to the deed and title thing. Why do you think title isn't common in other countries? Why do you think it is just common in the US?
Okay, before I answer this question, let me add one more thing to Roland's answer on your question, last question. So basically, Roland mentioned, 3 things. First thing is the agent need to have a, good reputation. So normally it's by, you get a referral from your friends to ensure the agent really have a good reputation. And Roland mentioned second thing, actually that was the most important, especially for the audience today, because I know most of you or all of you in Indonesia. So second thing Roland mentioned is the agent need to understand the client, need to understand the buyer or the seller, especially the buyer or seller from another country. For example, in this example today, the audience from Indonesia. So Roland need to know, of course, Roland, he know about this. So he need to know what's the limitation for example, if the buyer want to buy a house here, is that easy for the buyer to wire, $1 or $2 million directly from Indonesia to our company for closing? Or is there any limitation from the government, any limitation from the bank? So that's why the agent so important to need to understand the buyer and seller in their country, especially for foreign buyer and seller. So that second part is really important because some agent, they may have a lot of experience. They are in this business for 100 years or more, but they may not understand the buyer or seller from other country. So that means in that case, that can be a challenge. I can give you one quick example. One of the transaction I had before, the agent represent a young girl from Vietnam. So the young girl tell the buyer agent, said that, oh, my family is so rich, buying a house $1 or $2 million should not be a problem. Okay. So but the buyer agent actually did not know did not know foreign buyer from Vietnam so well. So after the file pending, when the time is come, the buyer need to wire the money to Escrow for closing. They file, there's a limitation from Vietnam government. They cannot wire more than, I think in that transaction, I forgot, it's $1.5 million US dollar. So they could not wire that much money. So, because the buyer agent did not know the foreign buyer, challenge. So that's why we end up close the file. They could not wire the money from Vietnam, but the buyer have a brother and sister. Buyer have a brother and sister. One in Boston, one in another state. So they are rich family. So their brother and sister wire the money to us for closing. So what if they don't have a brother and sister here in America? They will have trouble. They may lose the earnest money. So understand and know the client is so important. Okay, come back to me, the question. Your
Yeah.
question about the
Uh-huh.
title insurance, this kind of service is not common in other country. Actually, I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, you know that,
So
yeah.
for example, we try to introduce this kind of system to other country. For example, China, they don't have this system. We try to introduce this concept to other country, but it take long time for them to change that. So I think in the future, of course, more and more country will try to use this system, because if you are the buyer, of course you want to know the house title is free and clear before you take over that, because the buyer, of course, they don't want to take over the problem from the ex-owner or ex-owner. So I think it become more and more common, more and more country, they are willing to take this kind of concept. But I don't know the schedule. I mean,
Yeah, it should be different in different countries.
yeah.
Yes,
And
yeah.
it's also in some country they don't even know this kind of thing exists. So they only know the lawyer will handle everything. So in case anything happen after closing, they'll go back to the lawyer, pay more money to the lawyer to handle that.
Right.
Right.
So, Bowic, if
Mhm.
people want to reach you out, where can people reach you out? Is it through the email, or is there any phone number?
I would say, because as I mentioned, normally if the buyer or seller they want to buy or sell, normally the first step they will talk to the real estate agent. So I would suggest maybe they will talk to Roland first. After Roland understand the situation, if they are still have any problem, then Roland will contact me or connect me with the buyer or seller. So that will be more what I call appropriate. Normally I don't talk to the public, because
Okay.
I work directly with
Wait.
agent or different company. So
Right.
yeah, but of course,
All right, Bowic.
but of course, Hansen, if you have any question, of course you can contact me. If your fans or your audience have any question, want to go through you to contact me or Roland, you have my email address. I'm more than welcome to do that.
Yeah, of course, I appreciate it. All right, Bowic, Rolan, thank you so much for coming in. It's a wrap for
Thank
today.
you. Okay. Thank you, Hansen.
Thank you. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.